You know, I've been saying this for how many days now? I've been saying this for 3 days now. Just take the win. Some people are so stupid. Hit the intro.
Ladies and gentlemen, coming to you live from the Lucky Dog studio in a hidden location somewhere in the upper Midwest of the United States of America, it's a brother making his own way but with all the wrong opinions. Welcome to the Morning Night Live with your host, yours truly, Dawg Knight.
And stop the music. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Morning Night Live with your host, Marty, a.k.a. Dawg Knight. It's good to see you all here. I see a bunch of you got here a little early because I've got my little, whatchamacallit going again, where, you know, the standby thing, and so you know that I'm coming on, and it's not such a shock to your system. And today I started on time, so I'm just happy to be alive. Yes. Okay. Even before I get started, I'm looking at the chat, and yes, Sheagrath, yes, Sheagrath, you get the bell today for being first. Woo! Also, good morning, C. Thomas, my buddy Corbin, Jaeger Pony, RVA, Sarah, Seamus Derby, Max Del Rio, and Jason Burns, Tyler F., Smarty Bear, Pin Kahlo. The gang is all here. All right, so yesterday, a whole bunch of stuff is going on, and I can't even talk about it all. Wait, it was a real shock. I don't know what it was. A shock. Oh man. Anyway, sometimes I don't know what that means. What I'm losing. Anyway, so much crap is going on. There was a hearing today in the house, or yesterday in the House. And oh god, the Megan Rapinoe, she was had another interview, and what else happened? Well, let's see. Oh, the ICE raids are going to start too. And that Alex Acosta held a press conference yesterday. The guy who supposedly let off Jeffrey Epstein, kind of did, but there's a whole lot more to that story. I watched part of that press conference. So yes, there is a ton of stuff going on. So anyway, and also interesting article on why Christina Blasey Ford had no social media footprint. There's a story behind that too. So anyway, there's a whole lot of stuff going on. But I have to go first to this Megan Rapinoe interview she did with Anderson Cooper, because I have just a couple comments on it. But and also, by the way, as you know, today is FTG Thursday. Now, I didn't get any nominations in my. I was looking at my DMs. I didn't get anything in there, and I didn't get any in my email. But just for future use, if you're not sure, write down there. If you ever want to reach me on Twitter or through direct message, my direct messages are open. At Dawg Knight is my Twitter handle. And my Gmail, or you can put that on the other side of the Dawg Knight and send me stuff by Gmail. So, let's see. 16 news stories. Oh, there's all kinds of crap in the news. And I try to narrow it down to just a couple main ones, and then we see what's trending on Twitter, which usually gives us the rest of the news stories for the day. So Maddie, I know you're hard at work. There's so much stuff going on, but I got to narrow it down. And if you didn't know, this morning our time, it was roughly 3:30 in the morning. Tommy Robson got sentenced over in Great Britain. He ended up getting, technically he got 9 months in prison for what do they call it? Contempt of court for filming outside of a sentencing hearing. Actually, 6 months of it was new, and then 3 months was from a prior suspended sentence. And he's going to end up serving about 9.5 weeks based on time already served and other things. But not a great thing for him. And I'm not, you know what? I'm not necessarily, I kind of follow what goes on with Tommy Robinson. I kind of know what he tries to do. I know a lot of people want to call him this super racist, anti-Islamophobe, whatever. But I don't know. He's just been highlighting what's been going on with some of the gentlemen of Asian descent in the UK. But anyway, there's, like I said, there's a ton of stuff going on. I'm not going to get to it all today unless it happens to be trending on Twitter. The one thing I wanted to start with, though, is this. I've been saying it for the last several days. My friends and fellow Americans on the women's United States national team. Can you just take the win? Can you just take the win? Do you realize, and I've been saying it over and over and over. Good morning, MC. Hammer time. Do you realize that you are diminishing your amazing accomplishment of winning your 4th World Cup championship by constantly talking about the politics of it? Now, in this case, I don't necessarily blame Megan Rapinoe, but she's the one getting all the attention because of her beef with Trump. So you know that obviously on MSNBC and on CNN, that's all they're going to ask her about. It's like, you know what? Why are you asking this woman about Trump when she just won the World Cup? Trump didn't mention your name before this whole thing got put out there. And granted, the interview was from a long time ago when you said, I'm not going to the fucking White House. But Trump never said anything about you. But now all of a sudden he responds and you're projecting everything that you're pissed off about onto him as if he gives two shits about the daylight between your ankles when you kick a soccer ball. He doesn't. Never thought about you. Okay? So now and then her girlfriend, Sue Bird, we read that article a couple weeks ago talking about the president of the United States hates my girlfriend. The president of the United States don't give two craps about your girlfriend. He's proud of the American effort to win the World Cup. He lauds your accomplishments. He doesn't care about you personally. Never did. So there's this interview on CNN, and that's what we're gonna go through that first because I can do videos now. I can talk about videos. So we're gonna check out this video on CNN. We're gonna go through this interview with Anderson Cooper. This one starts right here. So just a second here. Let me pop this on the screen. And let's watch this. We're going to stop it several times here, and we're going to talk. I'm going to give Megan some advice as we go along through this interview, and also I might even give Anderson Cooper some advice because this whole thing's pretty annoying. So here we go.
So when I should try to clear this out.
Come on, Cooper, spit it out. Anderson,
sort of.
You know what? You know you can't trust Anderson Cooper, right? You can't. You know what? Why? You know why you can't trust Anderson Cooper? Because Anderson Cooper has 2 last names. Never trust a person with 2 first names or 2 last names. Anyway.
Started all of this in the public mind about the White House thing.
I'm not going to the White House. No, I'm not going to the White House. We're not going to be invited.
Okay, first of all, now that interview was from months ago. And first of all, we're not going to be invited to the White House. How do you know? How do you know? Why would the women's U.S. national team not be invited to the White House? That was a dumb thing to say anyway. How do you know? We're not going to be invited to the White House. Well, if you win the World Cup, you might be. Other sports teams are invited to the White House. Stupid thing to say. Anyway. Now, I understand that she has political differences with the president. Going to the White House is not about the president in the White House. It's about the American people. But anyway, let's go on.
You're not going to be invited?
I doubt it.
So that was actually shot a while ago, I understand. It was just released at that time. It was shot by some crew. Did you know that it would cause a kerfuffle?
No, I did not know
Thomas.
that. And anyone that knows me knows that I use the F word way too much.
You've apologized for cursing in that, not for the statement
Not
itself.
for the statements, yes. I use it way too much and way too.
Okay, yeah, no one cares that you swore. But here you did. You put your arrow in your sling and you pointed and shot it. You shot it. Okay.
Too loosely. But no, I didn't realize that. And it was more, obviously, it was I think our jersey unveil for the New Jersey leading into the World Cup, and it was kind of in a passing moment. But I mean, I meant with all the inflection and all of the sort of attitude that it gave with it. I meant all of it and every word of it.
Okay, so you meant every word of it. Okay, now we're gonna try and see if she gives you a good explanation of this, because it's funny because again, Trump's never mentioned the women's national team, never has, and again, going to the White House isn't about the president; it's about the president honoring you. It's not about you honoring him; it's about him honoring you. He doesn't expect anything from you, but we'll continue.
As far as we know,
Anderson, why are you choking on your words? This is not like Anderson. He must be in awe right now. He's
as I know, there is not an invitation from the president to the White House. He had said later on, he'd criticized you, but said that win or lose, that he'd said that you should win before you talk, and that win or lose, your team would be invited. There hasn't been an invitation publicly yet.
Hasn't been an invitation publicly yet. Well, because all they've talked about since they won is how they're not going to the fucking White House constantly. Anyway, duh. Geograph, I see you just followed up on C. Thomas's last comment. Oh, you guys, come on, be nice. Okay, we're good.
Would you go? Would your teammates go?
I would not go, and every teammate that I've talked to explicitly about it would not go.
Has she talked to every teammate? And why would you talk to him about it? And why wouldn't you go? I don't understand. I'm sorry, I keep interrupting. I just need to interrupt because and if you don't go, did you persuade the others not to go? Interesting. And if they, good question, Sarah, why would you bother inviting them? They don't want to go. Well, that's true. If they don't want to go, okay, then don't invite them. And I would even make a statement. You know what? The U.S. women's national team certainly would be welcomed here at the White House. It's an honor for me as president to host them, and it's an honor. And the purpose of the visit would be to honor them. But unfortunately, they have other visions. I don't know.
Everyone that you've talked to.
Everyone that I've talked to, yeah. I don't think anyone on the team has any interest in lending the platform that we've worked so hard to build and the things that we fight for and the
lending the platform that we build. I'm sorry, you are a soccer team. You're not there to be our political representatives. You're our nation's representatives in sport, in sportsmanship. And, you kind of pissed off some of the rest of the world with your lack of sportsmanship. But that's not unusual. They're not, and it's not a first. You know, because we Americans are rather showy and verbose and whatever. So it's not like they're unique in that aspect. But good morning, Ginger Snap. How you doing? And check your logic. How you doing? So 5. Are you giving me 5? Did I swear? Are we doing this thing that we did on Monkey? I can swear. I don't care if I swear. I kind of do. I'm not. It's not necessarily my normal. No, I'm lying. I swear all the time on the show, don't I? Don't give me any 5s. Anyway, where was I at? Yeah, it's not. You don't. Your platform is that you won a game in a world championship. That's the only platform anyone expects from you. So you're not lending the president your platform. You're being honored by the people of the United States, and the president of the United States, regardless if you like him or not, is the representative of the people of the United States.
Way that we live our life. I don't think that we want that to be co-opted or corrupted by this administration.
And the way that we live our life. Okay, what does that have to do with the president honoring you to the American people via visits to the White House? That it doesn't corrupt your way of life. No one cares about your way of life. We care that you won a sporting event, and that the president would honor you, not you honoring him. He's giving you his platform. It's the other way around.
And going to the White House would be, in your opinion, risk co-opting or corrupting your message?
Yeah, I think so. I think it's
what, your message that you can kick a ball into a big net around a goalie? That's the only message you need to have. And actually, you know what? And in fact, you know, the entire team, they're not all lesbians. What are you? No one's. If you want to use your platform to give a message, Trump's not going to take away your message. Oh my God, these people. Continuing.
It's an opportunity for this administration to sort of put us on display as their, sort of guests for the day, and I don't think that makes sense for us at all. I can't imagine any one of my teammates would want to be put in that position. There's so many other people that I would rather talk to and have meaningful conversations that could really affect change in Washington than going to the White House.
Wow, a private conversation or private opportunity with the President of the United States to ask questions and speak your mind wouldn't be one of the most amazing opportunities, especially if you're someone who disagrees with the President of the United States? That's amazing. Oh no, we want to go and talk to people that think just like us, and we only want to show ourselves in one light and not whatever. I'm just stupid.
There's a good chance the president is watching this interview or will watch this interview. What is your message to the president?
Oh, message to the president. I think that I would say that your message is excluding people.
Interesting. Excluding people. Huh. So if he were inviting a team that won a huge sporting event that is fairly racially diverse, sexually diverse, etc., by inviting you to the White House, you're excluding people. Excluding people from what? You know, his slogan that she's about to talk about here, I'm sure, Make America Great Again. America doesn't mean just one type of person. Make America Great Again. And I you know me, I've said it many times, I'm not a Trump guy. But I agree with most of his policies, most of the things he does. I think he's done well policy-wise. I have issues with style, but whatever. But I'm an American. So that slogan doesn't bother me a bit. And Americans come in all shapes, sizes, colors, creeds, orientations, national heritages or origins. We're all Americans. Okay? Now, I'll get it in a second.
You're excluding me. You're excluding people.
No, he wasn't excluding you. If he was going to exclude you, he would invite the whole team except for you. And if that's a reference to you being a lesbian, let's just remember, Trump is the first president ever to support same-sex marriage when he came into office. First ever. In fact, before he came to office, he was pro same-sex marriage. I don't think he gives a shit about that. Okay? He's not excluding you. What is he excluding you from, Megan? He's not excluding you from anything.
That look like me.
That look like you. Excluding people like me that look like me. What? You look like a soccer player. What do you look like? You're, I don't look at you and immediately say, I wouldn't have known you were a lesbian until, you made a big deal about you being a lesbian. I don't give a shit. But I guarantee you, if I see you walking down the street in downtown Minneapolis or New York or Detroit or Atlanta, you're just a basic white woman to me who look like you. Even though you got your purple hair, nobody cares. You look like a female. You look like a woman, an athlete, whatever. That look like you.
You're excluding people of color.
How? How is he excluding people of color? Oh, you know what's kind of funny? I was just thinking about something. Okay, Sarah says she looks like a lesbian. You know what? I wouldn't know that. Believe me, I've seen plenty of women, short hair, that color hair, that are not lesbians. She tries to present herself more lesbian by the way she cuts her hair and whatnot. I don't give a shit. But excluding piece of color. Now this is funny because I was just thinking about this the other day. If you ever follow anyone who is kind of a part of that Black Twitter thing, and Black Twitter, like Kamala Harris is running for president, and a lot of people on Black Twitter are dragging the hell out of Kamala Harris because she's a former prosecutor in California, and she was kind of for lack of a better word, kind of a dickhead as a prosecutor. So she was trying to prosecute people for kids who were truant, trying to put people in jail for that shit. But the funniest thing, I was just thinking about this morning, and Megan says this about excluding black people. Have you ever heard of the First Step Act? It's the act that they're trying to help people who maybe were over sentenced and were put into prison. They're helping a lot of these people get out of prison. And about a month ago or 2 months ago, I don't know, the First Step Act was passed, and that was a big thing that Trump was working on. And he's been able to get some people out of prison who they thought maybe their sentences were just way too harsh. So, when they had the act, and they had, about 7 or 8 of these former prisoners behind him. And of the 7 or 8, only one was white. It was a bunch of black people getting out of prison. And I thought to myself, this is hilarious. Imagine Kamala Harris gets the Democratic nomination for president of the United States, right? And the thing that Black Twitter has been busting her ass about is because she put a lot of black people in jail. And so I'm waiting for the debate between Kamala Harris and Donald Trump. And the line is, here's the line. This is going to be the perfect line for Donald Trump and that thing. Donald Trump can say, Senator Harris, I've got about as many black people out of prison as you have put into prison. I'm just waiting. I kind of want her to be the nominee just to hear that, because that's what, and I'll be using that line over and over and over. Donald Trump has let it, because right now so far about 1,000 people have been let out of prison under this First Step Act. Good morning, Cynical Lindsay. So that would be just hilarious. Yes, Senator Harris, I've let about as many black people out of prison as you put into prison. Congratulations. Anyway, excluding black people. You know what? And you know, you say this, and the unemployment rates, yes, they're the lowest unemployment rates in blacks in history and whatnot. I don't, that stuff, the economic stuff, yes, there's some things that the president has done to help spur the economy, and he's done well, and I like those things, and that's awesome. Part of that is business cycles, economic cycles, but also he's done things to help that along. But so is that excluding black people? Is that excluding people of color? People of color are participating in this better economy. Is that making America great again? And again, well, I'm going to let her move on here, because we'll get into that in a second too. You're
excluding, Americans that maybe support you. I think.
You're excluding Americans that maybe support you? How? Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to make a reference to Elizabeth Warren. All right.
I think that we need to have a reckoning with the message that you have and what you're saying about make America great again. I think that you're harking back to an era that was not great for everyone. It might have been great for a few.
Oh, wait a minute now. Hold up. Now, this is a question I have too. So I wouldn't mind asking this to the president either, but so harkening back to an era that people maybe thought wasn't so great. Well, what era exactly is he harkening back to? Okay, you assume that he's harkening back to a particular era. But what is that era that you think he's talking about? Do you think he's talking about the 50s? Which, yes, certainly there was a time for black people in the 50s that wasn't so great, unless you were, except the fact that the economic engine of black people began to grow in the 50s, just like everybody else. We had more people that had their own businesses in the 50s. We had more people being successful in the 50s. Now, the laws were shit. And I will never defend any of the laws, especially in the South, the Jim Crow laws and all that nonsense. But economically, we were growing, even into the 60s with the Civil Rights era. That's an era where, wait a minute, America started showing its greatness by allowing this civil rights movement to grow, and millions of Americans supported that, and we got laws that the Civil Rights Act in '64 and things like that. So was that great for America that we began to, because we fought a war 100 years earlier to end slavery? Was that great that we were able to end an institution that's been in human existence forever, that a terrible a terrible thing that America was able to finally make illegal and change? Was America great when we were going through that civil rights struggle in the 50s and 60s and were able to change laws and be able to give people in certain parts of the country who could not do things by law and change those laws to make it better for those people? Was that making America great? As we grew through the 70s and we began to understand one another as people and began to learn to live together as a nation more? Was that a time that was great? In the 80s, when I was in high school, when there was a pretty there were obviously singled out incidents that got highlighted to death, but as a nation, did we grow less prejudiced? Did we grow more? Were we more integrated? Were we able to understand that people were different, but that they were still okay to be around? Was that the greatness that we're talking about? Was it the economic engine that began again in the early 80s and lasted pretty much through the 90s until a small recession in the 2000s? And as we've grown as a nation, gotten better and better and better, you know, does the idea of a Make America Great Again, was that something that he came up with because we had a president just before him who was constantly apologizing and talking about how bad America was and how he was going to give us some hope and change? So maybe that's what the slogan's about, you know, because apparently America wasn't so great according to Obama. The first time the president's wife was proud of this country was when they elected her husband. Okay, well, there are things to be proud of this country, whether or not you were a part of the mainstream. But did things become better? In my lifetime, absolutely things have come better. You know, my parents were in the civil rights struggle. My grandfather was an attorney helping black people in the 30s during the Great Depression. And so to make him, I'm not a sloganeer. Make America Great Again is just one of those corny slogans, but there is some meaning behind it, and it's not necessarily what you're saying here. Okay? You associate it with, well, like Nancy Pelosi did the other day, said something about, oh, make America white again. Fuck you, Nancy Pelosi. Oops. I'll throw a 5 in there because I did swear. And I'm not here to defend the president and his slogan, but I understand where he was going with that. But y'all need to make it about divisiveness, because you accuse him of divisiveness, but you have to make it divisive to be able to fight him. Okay? So who's actually creating the divisiveness?
A few people, and maybe America is great for a few people right now, but it's not great for...
Maybe America is great for a few people right now. Then if it's only great for a few people right now, why do we have people flooding over the border to come here, legally and illegally? Okay? It's only good for a few people? Really? Because the unemployment rate has been dropping for all communities. The wages have been rising for all communities. It's pretty damn good right now if you take away all the other BS that people are fighting about. The fake, the Russia. And, you know, children in cages, which is bullshit. We'll get to that. We might get to that today, too. Moving on.
Enough Americans in this world, and I think that we have a responsibility, each and every one of us. You have an incredible responsibility as, you know, the chief of this country, to take care of every single person, and you need to do better for everyone.
For everyone. Well, things seem to be getting better. Now, are there problems? Yeah, man. And I saw it when we were traveling the West Coast. There's a lot of homeless people along the West Coast. Interestingly enough, very heavily dominated areas where there's Democrats. Now, I'm not saying it's exclusively their problem, but man, they got problems. So, and I'm not sure how that's the president's job or fault, because obviously those problems didn't just pop up in the last 3 years. But clearly, you could barely go around town without seeing "we're hiring" signs everywhere because the job market is great right now. So I think that helps everyone.
The idea of Make America Great Again, if it means going back to an America from the 40s or 50s, that's an America where you could be imprisoned for being gay, where you could be sent by your family to a mental hospital, where you could not walk down the street holding hands with your loved one, or I could not walk down the street or go dancing or anything. It's
way to push that question, Tucker. But Tucker Anderson, what the fuck's his name? Hey, Tucker Carlson too. You can't trust him. He's got 2 last names. Anderson Cooper. But has he ever said that Make America Great Again was going back to the 40s or 50s? Has he ever once said that? See, that's the thing. You have to push it into that to make that be against you. 2 first names, 2 last names, either one. I don't trust any of them. They're in the media. Although I kind of enjoy Tucker. Although now, oh God, sometimes Tucker says stupid shit too. But I am more likely to agree with Tucker than Anderson. But how do you know that he wasn't referring to the 80s? The 80s was a pretty good time. The 90s were a pretty good time. I think the Make America Great Again slogan specifically came up because we had a president that didn't think America was great. We had a president who was apologizing all over the world for the United States. We had a president that was, changing things in the world based on giving up power from the Americans. We had a president who gave up the internet to the rest of the world because, well, Americans shouldn't be, America shouldn't have control over that. Yeah, not a smart move, okay? So, everything that Obama made these soaring speeches about how he wanted hope, what is it? Something about hope and change? Because you wanted to change something that you didn't think was that great. Okay? And there's lots of people who say that shit. Real quick here. Thank you, Jaeger Pony. Let me see. I can see what this says. Thank you so much. By the way, we do have, if you want to do super chats, they're down in the description down below through Streamlabs. Thank you so much, Jaeger Pony, for the $25 super chat. People like her are why I don't consider myself part of the LGB community anymore. Yeah, you know what? I'm telling you, it's amazing that how many LGBT people, LBGT, QIA, XYZ, LMNOP, people get the message. It's not about, if you can go negative. It's nuts. Thank you again, Jaeger Pony. Thank you so much. I appreciate every time you when you do that, and thanks to everyone who does super chats every once in a while and donations. It's very humbling for me because you know me, I don't like to shill, but I do absolutely appreciate it. It gives me a lot of great incentive to keep doing what I do. Anyway, let's go back to Coop Anderson here.
It's interesting how different people view things through a very personal lens, and as you said, maybe don't walk in the shoes of other people who, did not have rights in a past halcyon America.
Hold it. Before she even answers that question, if you're hearkening back, ask, if you don't know the answer to the question or what it means, have you ever asked? Or did you just listen to somebody who told you, well, he's talking about the 40s and 50s and the KKK was killing people in the 50s, so that's what it means. And he thinks you want to go back to when everything was white. I'm pretty sure President Trump realizes that it's not, well, I don't, it's not about white. And that's what, and for me, it frustrates me that you have to try to be, this is, you accuse others of being divisive, and yet you are the divisive one. You're the one who hates, the people who accuse others of hate are usually the most hateful people around.
Yeah, it was not a great place for a lot of people. It was a very oppressive place. And that's not to say that it was the worst place in the world. I think that's a...
Yeah, you're right, Megan. You're right. And guess what? It's the place where we've been able to evolve as a country and make changes. And again, you're assuming he's talking about a particular time. Remember, how old is Trump? 72 or something? Trump, it wasn't, my mom is 90. My mom just had her 90th birthday. So she was coming up in the 50s. Trump was pretty much coming up in the 70s and 80s. Past the his formative years were during the civil rights movement. During this, he was in the 80s, or 70s and 80s, he was a young man and growing up. A lot of people, when they say when America was great, usually are talking about their childhood. Well, during Trump's childhood, that was the civil rights era. That was when, the 80s, when he became more notorious as a person in New York City in the real estate world, and his family, he started being a developer himself after his father. America was pretty great then as far as the economics, as we got out of the slump of the 70s. Perhaps he's talking about that. You harken back to the 50s because that you hear how bad that time was. But remember, as Trump was coming up, that's the time of the civil rights movements, the Harvey Milk movement, the gay lesbian rights movement. Why do you think Trump was a supporter of same-sex marriage before he became a politician, and still is as a politician? So don't just assume that he's harkening back to the 50s. Now, there were some great things about the 50s for some people, and there's some bad things about the 50s for some people, but you want to assume the worst because of your hate, not because of his.
One of the things that a lot of people go to, no one's saying that they want to leave America, but I think as one of the great countries in the world, and for sure we want to see ourselves as that, we need to constantly look within and challenge ourselves to be better so everyone else can be better around us.
And that's what we have done as a nation since we were founded. Yes, we had some bad things that we had to fix. We've been fixing them over many years. And just the fact that we've been able to do that is amazing. And now a lot of people want to hold on to that. And it's funny, I've been going through the ADL, the Anti-Defamation League stuff, and I was doing some research on the Southern Poverty Law Center, and it's interesting how those organizations thrive on America being the worst, or thrive, and they make their money by making things look as bad as they possibly can and being able to forge headlines. We'll talk about that in a bit, or soon. I'm making a video about it too. You thrive on having things be the worst so that you still have a purpose, or so you can still have power. And so that's one of the problems, one of the things that I've gone through as, Now, here's the thing. I never want to call myself a black conservative, because that just, to me, that's corny. You know, I don't want to be that Candace Owens type, or, you know, these people who use that as their way of becoming notorious, because I just happen to be, I'm an American who happens to be black, and I happen to have conservative views, but I also have views that don't always mesh with conservatives. But for the most part, I'm, you know, conservative. I tend to agree with the Republicans more than I agree with the Democrats. But, you know, I don't want to use a label to make myself more notorious. I just am. I've been this way for 40 of my 55 years. Okay. I never had to take a red pill. I've always thought this way. My grandparents and my parents and, you know, and everyone in my family, even though they don't agree with me politically, the upbringing that I had made me how I am now, and it has shaped my views. I never need a red pill, and I don't even know what the point of that was now. I lost my train of thought. But anyway, you know, if you want to focus on all the terrible things, great. But let's focus on some of the things that are great and have been great about this country, and understand that that message doesn't have to be negative for you, you know, as an LGBTQ person or a person of color. Okay. I prefer just to be called an American and not a person of color or whatever, but whatever. Anyway, all right, okay, let's keep going.
I know you've been invited by, I think, Congresswoman Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, I think Nancy Pelosi. Shout
out AOC.
Yeah, great.
So does that mean, is that an invitation you're taking?
Shout out to the moron.
Yeah, Nancy Pelosi has said, you know, you'd be welcome to a bipartisan congressional thing. Do you plan on going?
Will she accept it from the bipartisan congressional thing? Will she? Or does she want the Republicans to go away because they're just not worthy of her?
To Washington in one way or another?
Yes, definitely. And I think even just in the conversations with the teammates that I've had, I think everyone is interested in going to Washington. I think we've always been interested in going to Washington. This is such a special moment for us, and to be able to, you know, sort of leverage this movement and talk about the things that we want to talk about, and to celebrate like this with the leaders of our country is an incredible moment. So yes to AOC, yes to Nancy Pelosi, yes to the bipartisan Congress, yes to Chuck Schumer, yes to anyone else that wants to invite us and have a real substantive conversation.
Really? Yes to everybody to have a substantive conversation, except for the one person who signs the final bill. You don't want to have that. You're giving up an opportunity. It's amazing that she doesn't see this, and any athlete that, you know. And again, the I don't really care if the athletes have the president's ear, but you know what? I'm pretty sure that he sits down with people and talks with them, and what an amazing opportunity it would be to have the president's ear, even if you don't agree with him. I would have gone if I probably shouldn't say this out loud. If, God forbid, Hillary Clinton had been president of the United States, and I, as a superstar athlete, won the NBA Finals, I would go see Hillary Clinton, who's someone I don't really like, I don't have any trust of. But that's an opportunity, no matter who the president is, no matter if you like their policies or not. You have the opportunity to talk to that person, especially if you disagree with them, and you don't. Maybe that's just, I don't know. Why is that comment hidden inside chat? I don't see a hidden. Okay, I don't know. Oh, my sister's a hardcore leftist and thinks we need socialism, and the whites need to spend their days apologizing. Nah. If you haven't done anything, you have nothing to apologize for. You don't have to apologize for... Look. My great-grandfather was a slave. Born a slave. Now, he was only 7 when slavery ended, but he was born a slave. Does anyone need to apologize to me or even my grandfather? It's a circumstance that, oh my God. I apologize. Thank you for those of you who have relatives who ended that bullshit. That's what I say. I don't need to apologize. I'm a thank you for who have relatives who ended the bullshit. Okay? Good for you. You did a good thing. And my grandfather ended up with an 80-acre farm. But he died selling fruits and vegetables in this local town. So he did okay beyond his slavery. That's my my great-grandfather, excuse me. Anyway.
And that believe in the same things that we believe in.
By the way, before you came out on it.
Wait, let's hear that again.
Conversation, and that believe in the same things that we believe in.
Whoa, what? Now let's get this again. Like
this with the leaders of our country is an incredible moment. So yes to AOC, yes to Nancy Pelosi, yes to the bipartisan Congress, yes to Chuck Schumer, yes to anyone else that wants to invite us and have a real substantive conversation and that believe in the same things that we believe in.
Wow! So yes to everyone who believes the same things that we believe in. Huh. Let's only talk to people that believe the same things we believe in, and that's why. And what's amazing about this? Now wait, I'll wait till we get to the end of the interview to make this comment. Hold on.
By the way, before you came out on it, you probably didn't hear Bernie Sanders said that you should get equal pay, and wanted me particularly to say hello to you. Just very quickly, a couple things, and again, if this is too personal, you have you tweeted your brother tweeted you tweeted your brother. He was my understanding is he's the person who got you into soccer when you were a little kid. That you really look up to him. He's obviously and it's been public. He's had troubles. He's been in and out of prisons and problems with drugs. He was saying how you are his hero, that you always looked up to him, and now he looks up to you, and that your protest helped him and sort of empowered him.
Yeah, you can make me emotional.
Okay, yeah, I'm going to pass this. Anyway, the funny thing about this, now I like the human interest stuff about her. Well, hang on.
He definitely is someone that is very special to me, and I've just seen firsthand, how the sort of prison system has, ruined his life in a lot of ways. At least ruined the first, 38 or is it 39 now? 38, 39 years.
Wait, hold on. The prison system ruined his life. Now, I don't know if he's one of these people who might be able to take advantage of the First Step Act. If it's something that he did that maybe he shouldn't have been spending as much time in prison as he did for, maybe he should be talking to the president about the First Step Act and how maybe the First Step Act could help your brother. The other side of that is maybe he should be doing shit that put him in prison. But again, he might be in prison because of something that happened during the Clinton administration. The 3 strikes and all that shit. So that's an interesting thing. He ruined his life by getting himself into prison. Well, maybe you should be talking to the president about the First Step Act. You would have something that you probably agree on. You see, there's some agreement there, I bet, Megan. Good gosh. Think about that.
Of his life. So to be able to share this moment with him and have him be out and doing well is just, it sort of means the world to me. And we've had a lot of conversations since he's been out. Our relationship, we've always been close. It's been.
All right, I'm going to end this one here because I've spent too much time on it. But here's the thing that's amazing to me about the World Cup win. during that interview, was there one question? Well, now wait a minute. Never mind. They put this on CNN like this. It's a message to Trump. This has 582,000 views, and none of it was about the women's soccer team. You notice that? Not 1 second of that was about the women's soccer team that just won the World Cup. All the focus since the World Cup, as far as this team, has been about who? One person. Donald Trump. Because you guys, I'm not misgendering. I'm using you guys in the generic Midwest usage. You guys meaning y'all. I'll stick with y'all. Y'all have done, everything's been about Trump after this win instead of about their great accomplishment. And that's what I'm talking about in my title of this particular stream is you know what? Just take the win. Take the win. Stop making this about Trump. Stop making this about politics. Enjoy the win. And I'm saying that as I am proud of Megan Rapinoe and all her teammates. I'm proud that they're Americans. I'm proud that guess what? You know what's amazing? Because supposedly Trump's this fascist dictator type. And yet, when they won the World Cup, his tweet was congratulating them. You notice that none of them are in jail right now. None of them have been taken off to the gulags for speaking about the president badly. President Dictator McTrumpy Orange Man Bad has not put anyone in prison. You notice that? A lot of people talk shit about him all the time. They're none of them are in prison. The dictator hasn't put AOC in prison. The dictator hasn't put Ilhan Omar in prison. The dictator hasn't put Megan Rapinoe in prison. There isn't a roundup of all the gays and putting them in prison camps. Okay, so the dictator fascist hasn't done any of that. In fact, you know what? Has he put any journalists in jail? Does he have the FBI spying on journalists or the Justice Department spying on journalists like the former president did? But he's a dictator. Anyway. So that is my rant for the day. Holy smokes, I did a whole hour just on that. Well, almost a whole hour. So, hey, can we talk about something else today? But you know what? I want to give an FTG to Megan Rapinoe. I really do. But I still am proud of Megan Rapinoe. I'm still proud that the American team took the World Cup. So it's a little tough for me. Yeah, no, I'm not done. No Twitter trends. We're getting there. I see what you said. Check your logic. No, we're getting there. I just haven't. That's where we're going to do that next. I did have a couple articles too. But let's do an article because there's a couple in particular that I wanted to get to regarding the Epstein thing. I want to talk to him. Now, I tell you what. All right, I'm going to ask you not to do an FTG for Megan Rapinoe despite this nonsense. Okay. Rapinoe makes me care even less about women's soccer. You know what? I agree. I can see how that can do that. It makes me not want to celebrate it as much, but it's still an amazing accomplishment that they have their fourth World Cup. So good for them. Good morning, Mr. Monopoly. How you doing? Hey, Johnny Hellcat. I see you're here too. Did I already say hi? I just saw you pop in. So there we go. All right. Let's go. Let's go to this Jeffrey Epstein. And please, FTG for Jeffrey Epstein. Okay, FTG to the max for Jeffrey Epstein. It's fascinating, this story, because this Alex Acosta did a news conference yesterday, and so there's a whole couple things. Congratulations to FTG for making that win all about Trump. Yeah, there you go, Tyler F. That helps. I'm proud of them, but I kind of FTG for the interview and making the win about Trump instead about your great accomplishment. So anyway, but hell to G to Jeffrey Epstein. I told you yesterday about how both Nancy Pelosi and Chuck Schumer did these tweets talking about how this Alex Acosta needs to resign, or Trump should have him resign. And they obviously had to put Trump's name in it. And if not, Trump should fire him. And then if Trump doesn't fire him, well, that's all you need to know, right? Well, here's the thing. I watched that press conference yesterday, and let's see this is on Daily Caller. Who is the Florida State prosecutor who Acosta said went easy on Jeffrey Epstein? So during a press conference Wednesday, Alexander Acosta, the Secretary of Labor and former federal prosecutor in Miami, repeatedly blamed a former Florida State attorney for mishandling the prosecution of Jeffrey Epstein, a billionaire sex offender who has been accused of molesting dozens of underage girls. Letting what the state attorney was ready to do going forward would have been absolutely awful, Acosta said Wednesday, while defending his decision to strike a plea deal with Epstein in 2008. He was referring to Barry Krischer, a Democrat who served as state attorney in Palm Beach through 2008. Acosta said his prosecutors intervened in the state case after learning Epstein would be allowed to enter a plea agreement that would keep him out of jail and not require him to register as a sex offender. Now remember, this was not a federal case at first. This was a state case. And again, the state was going to allow to enter I'm going to read it again. And allowed to enter a plea agreement that would keep him out of jail and not require him to register as a sex offender, because the case I can't remember. Well, it was I'm sorry, I got this wrong. The federal case was given over to the state, but then the state said they were going to allow him to enter a plea agreement with no jail time and not register as a sex offender. So I'm going to continue. He said his office faced I'm going to put it on the screen. I'm sorry. He said his office faced the difficult decision of either forcing Epstein to accept a guilty plea that would give him some jail time or roll the dice by taking Epstein to trial. Simply put, the Palm Beach State Attorney's Office was ready to let Epstein walk free. No jail time, nothing. Prosecutors in my former office found this to be completely unacceptable, and they became involved. Our office became involved, Acosta said. The end result was a plea deal that gave Epstein 13 months in Florida State Jail on one charge of soliciting prostitution of a minor. The deal required him to register as a sex offender and compensate his victims. This happened in state court, not in federal court. Acosta is a federal attorney. Epstein was indicted Monday by federal prosecutors in New York on charges that he engaged in sex trafficking of underage girls between 2002 and 2005. Krischer has avoided most of the public scrutiny over the handling of the original Epstein investigation. That has fallen mostly on Acosta, thanks in part to his cabinet position in the Trump administration. So obviously, because he somehow is involved in the case and he has something to do with Trump, we talked about this yesterday, anything Trump touches is getting investigated. The wrath has been on the wrath has been on him. Let's see. Let's watch a little bit of this. Yeah, this is only 2 minutes long. Watch this. Oops, muted. Sorry, hang on. So listen to this.
Offers an important opportunity to more fully bring Epstein to justice. In 2008, a major newspaper described the Epstein prosecution like this. A Florida grand jury, that is, a grand jury convened by the district attorney of Palm Beach County.
Now, that's important. This was not a federal case. Acosta was the district federal prosecutor. This is a state case. It's a Florida state case, and the Justice Department was going to take it over because of the nature of the case. But they let the state. They gave the case back to the state, assuming they would convict him and put him in jail.
Had charged Epstein with the lesser offense. At that time, the Epstein legal team was elated. He would have avoided prison altogether. But then the United States Attorney's Office in Miami became involved. Epstein got an ultimatum. Plead guilty to a charge that would require jail time and registration, or face federal charges. And that was the week, more than 10 years ago, that Epstein went to jail. Times have changed, and coverage...
Now, I don't know, this next part, I don't know what he's talking about here with the times have changed, blah, blah, blah. Now, as you said, the reason Acosta was involved was because the Fed threatened that if they found something that he did no jail time under, that the federal government was going to take it over and charge him. Okay, so the state, they thought the state made this deal, not Acosta. But anyway, continuing, let's see what now this is. I don't like what he says here, but I'm going to play it anyway.
Of this case has certainly changed since that article. Facts are important, and facts are being overlooked. This matter started as a state matter. It was prosecuted initially by the state of Florida and not by the U.S. Attorney's Office. In 2006, a grand jury convened by the state attorney, the district attorney of Palm Beach County, reviewed the evidence and recommended a single charge. And that charge would have resulted in no jail time at all, no registration as a sexual offender, and no restitution to the victim. Further, the state attorney's office allowed Epstein to self-surrender and arraigned him the following morning. Simply put, the Palm Beach State Attorney's Office was ready to let Epstein walk free, no jail time, nothing. Prosecutors in my former office found this to be completely unacceptable, and they became involved. Our office became involved. Our prosecutors, as this 2008 article recounts, presented the ultimatum: plead guilty to more serious charges that required jail time, registration, and restitution, or we'd roll the dice and bring a federal indictment. Without the work of our prosecutors, Epstein would have gotten away with just that state charge. Now, many today question the terms of that ultimatum, what's called the non-prosecution offers.
So anyway, he goes on and gets into more details about that. So this was state prosecution. The state was going to let him free. The feds came in and said, no. You have to plead guilty and do some jail time. And they thought that this was the deal. And they said, or otherwise we're going to take a chance and we're going to do put some federal charges down on your sorry ass. And he agreed to pleading guilty. And then they get into the sentencing phase after making the deal with the state and with Epstein, and they give him this slap on the wrist sentence. Now, let's go continue on about this Krischer guy. Krischer. While in office, Krischer's highest profile case involved Rush Limbaugh, who Krischer accused of doctor shopping for prescription drugs. Limbaugh's lawyers and supporters accused Krischer of heavy-handed and politically motivated tactics, such as subpoenaing medical records and pushing for 10 felony charges against the conservative radio host. Since leaving government, Krischer has become involved in social causes that would seem at odds with his handling of the Epstein case. Krischer, in September 2018, hosted a training session for the Florida Coalition Against Domestic Violence, aimed at teaching prosecutors and investigators about the dynamics of sexual assault and building the strongest possible case evidence-based prosecution, incorporating domestic violence statutes when necessary. Krischer is also the namesake of the annual humanitarian award granted by Palm Beach County YWCA, the award granted every October, which is Domestic Violence Awareness Month. Now, this dude, so So this is a Democrat in Florida, prosecutor taking care of a Democrat, Jeffrey Epstein, who and letting him off on this charge, and now they're blaming who? Donald Trump. Somehow this is Trump's fault. So anyway, you can watch that whole the Acosta press conferences all over the internet. You can find it. It's amazing how this all turned out. Apparently, Kushner could not be reached for comment. Also, the other part of it too is well, here we go. Let's see. Now, the YWCA website appears to have removed references to the Kushner Award, but a Facebook page for the Palm Beach YWCA says that award was established in 2008, recognizes law enforcement, social services, legal and health care professionals who have gone beyond the normal call of duty to assist or advocate for a victim of domestic violence. Wow, that's really different. But if you're a rich and powerful Democrat in Miami, fuck off, right? All right. The organization did not return a request for the blah, blah, blah. The Miami Herald published a scathing expose of both Acosta and Kushner in November 2018. Yeah. If it weren't for Acosta in that office, he probably would have walked with no jail time whatsoever. Joseph Recarey, a detective who worked the Epstein case, told the Herald that Alan Dershowitz, Epstein's lawyer, flew to Florida to meet privately with Kushner. So Alan Dershowitz is on the hook for some of this BS too. So, I as much as Alan has tried to be fair and impartial, he served his client well now, didn't he? Let's see. Yeah, and it's funny because something like this, and is a line in here, according to the Herald, Recarey and Kushner told him he did not believe Epstein's accusers. Only 2 out of more than a dozen of Epstein's alleged victims testified before the grand jury. It's so crazy, and so crazy, and it just seems so way out there that it's so hard to believe something so incredibly massive, that this guy had a private island where he was has underage prostitutes and doing all this stuff. I understand why you would be, well, the word's incredulous, but man. Anyway, so that's that's an interesting story. Let's see. All right, it's almost 15 past the hour. I was going to do another story, but there's all kinds of stuff. There's so many things going on yesterday. I could just go on and on and on, but we got to find out what people are going to be talking about for the rest of the day. So we must absolutely get into our daily Twitter trends. Now, first, I'm opening up my Twitter account here. Let's see. Oh, I always like to see what's on top of my Twitter page when we get into Twitter trends. And this one's the day. By the way, if you're familiar with Poisoning the Well, they made a hilarious video. Apparently, they've been in this game for quite a while, know a lot of the people that you know online, and they happen to be acquaintances with June, Shoe on Head, and the Armored Skeptic. And apparently both June and the Armored Skeptic unfollowed Sophane and Fat Pat of Poisoning the Well. So they made this really funny video about them being so just destroyed by this information, and you got to go watch it. It's hilarious if you're familiar with Poisoning the Well. Also, this is funny. This is a survey. I don't know who it's a YouTube survey. Okay. And it just came to my attention. And here's the YouTube survey. Which of these products would you consider purchasing? 1, youth vaping. 2, obesity. 3, online bullying. 4, foodborne illness. 5, none of the above. Wait a minute. How do you purchase youth vaping? Well, I know how you could purchase obesity, but it'd take a while. How do you purchase online bullying? How do you purchase foodborne illness? I don't know. That's the dumbest survey I've ever seen in my life. Oh my gosh. Okay. Wow. What? No. Okay. Anyway, let's get into Twitter trends because I could get caught up in these little fights with my friends on Twitter all day. So anyway, number one on Twitter right now is Thursday Thoughts, as opposed to Thursday Thoughts. Let's see what's happening on Thursday Thoughts. What are people thinking about on Thursday Thoughts? Well, we can't help everyone, but we can help someone. Oh, this guy's like helping out a little tree frog. Oh, that's kind of cute. Okay, look at this. So he comes there with a little bottle cap full of water. The tree frog just walks into it. Aw, isn't that cute? That is so cute. We can't help everyone, but everyone can help someone. That is a fantastic Thursday thought. It doesn't have to be a tree frog, though. You can help. Go help. You know what? Go help somebody today. You know what? In fact, here's my challenge to you today. Okay, when you come into chat tomorrow, I'm going to ask you this question. And if I don't ask you this question, somebody remind me to ask you this question. What did you do yesterday to help someone? Don't. Tell me now. Tell me tomorrow. What did you do to help someone yesterday? So what did you do? What did you do that was kind or something that helped someone out yesterday? That's what I'm going to ask you tomorrow. Or if I don't ask you tomorrow, someone remind me. Remind me to ask that question tomorrow. And I hope you can come up with something. It doesn't even have to be big. It can be something tiny, you know? Like I helped a lady yesterday. She's pushing this big old cart of groceries through the parking lot at the grocery store. And I'm like, hey, can I give you a hand with that? I mean, you know, she's an old lady. She was struggling. I'm like, can I help you with that? She's like, oh, thank you. And I just pushed her cart to her car. So something like that. Do something today. Again, this statement is we can't help everyone, but everyone can help someone. There you go. All right. I don't even need to see another Thursday thought. Let's move on. Number 2 on Twitter trends, Chargers Melvin Gordon wants a new contract or he's out of Los Angeles. Oh, is he demanding? I thought, you know, was it the NBA or the NFL? No, it's the NBA that was going to take away the term owners. These professional athletes, they are just like slavery, right, man? This dude, he's demanding a new contract or he's out of Los Angeles. ESPN reports. I'm not even going to click that. I'm not going to click it. Melvin Gordon, I don't even know what Melvin Gordon does. Is he a linebacker? He's got a 28. Maybe he's a running back. All right, I'm going to click it. What is it? Gordon's agent, Fletcher Smith, told ESPN, Adam Schefter, that the running back, he's a running back. Okay, I didn't know. The running back will not report to training camp and will demand a trade if he doesn't receive a new deal from the team. Just like slavery, I'm telling you. All right, moving on. Free Slurpee Day. Oh my God. Did y'all know it's Free Slurpee Day? That's number 3. Now, the thing is, this bums me out to no end that it's Free Slurpee Day. Do you know why? Do you know why it bums me out that it's Free Slurpee Day? Because we no longer have any 7-Elevens in this part of the country. It bums me out. We were out, now when I was out in California for our little trip that we had a couple weeks ago, there were still 7-Elevens everywhere. There are no 7-Elevens in Minnesota anymore. They're all gone. They've got Speedway is the big convenience store here. We also have a version of Quick Trip, like every part of the country has something called Quick Trip, but we have a chain called Quick Trip. We have Holiday Station stores, which are going to be, actually they just got bought out by somebody. Circle K, I think they got bought out by Circle K. Anyone got Circle K? In fact, chat, if you're in the chat, are y'all paying attention? I don't even know if you're here. Y'all stop talking. If you, okay, there's still people here. If you, tell me what the biggest, what's the big convenience store in your part of the country? Like I said, there's Speedway here. They used to be called, they used to be called Super America here. But the Super America and Speedway were the same company, but like, I guess west of Illinois they were called Super America, and east of Illinois they were called Speedway, and now they just changed them all to Speedway just recently. Anyway, what's the? Am I still on? Is there people? Yeah, there's still people here. Okay, good. All right, what's the big convenience store in your area? All right. Anyway, it's Free Slurpee Day. If you have 7-Elevens in your part of the country, apparently you can get a free Slurpee today, and Slurpees are great. Slurpees are fantastic. All right. Yeah, we used to have Lindsay, we used to have a 7-Eleven by our house too. And we'd walk down to the 7-Eleven and buy a Slurpee. I like Slurpees. Do you like Slurpees? I like beer. All right, number 4, Thursday motivation. We're going to skip that. Signs that you live in the past is number 5. Oh my God, here we go. Signs that you live in the past. Okay, before I even click this one, Quick Trip. Yeah, Quick Trip with a QI. Those are when I was in Des Moines, those were the big ones down there, and then they go farther to the east too. Holiday Quick Tip, Holiday Station stores. Okay. All right, real quick. Before I click signs that you live in the past, when I click this, give me a number of how many of these tweets I have to read before one of them has a slam on Donald Trump. Give me a number, please. I need a number. In fact, I'm going to skip that one and come back to it. When I click signs that you live in the past, how many tweets do I have to read before one of them is slamming Donald Trump? Okay. I'm going to skip to ICE raids. ICE raids across the U.S. on undocumented family. You know what? That's such a bullshit way to put this. So they're going to do ICE raids. Look how this U.S. News, how it puts a narrative on this in one sentence. ICE raids across the U.S. on undocumented families to begin on Sunday, according to the New York Times. That's an amazing spin, isn't it? By calling it on undocumented families. Is there a slant in that sentence or what? Immigration and Customs Enforcement agents to begin raid on Sunday to arrest thousands of members of undocumented families, the New York Times reports. So that's how the New York Times reported. Yeah, let's see. Nationwide raids to sweep up undocumented families for deportation are scheduled to begin on Sunday. How about illegal individuals? Not illegal. People who came in here illegal aliens, individuals. No, they use the word families for a very specific reason, because it wants to tug at your heartstrings. Oh, they're going to tear families apart. It's making a narrative out of what's happening. Now, is everyone involved who is going to be deported? How about if they do a sweep of people who have known criminal records? See, if you phrase it that way, then you're not tugging at the heartstrings. But this is just a narrative by sweep up of undocumented families. Okay. Now, will it affect some? Everyone is a member of an undocumented family, or of a family, right? Thousands of members of undocumented families. God, dog, I hate these people. Now, and granted, I get it, man. You don't want to you don't want to break up families. Some of them have been living here for years, whatever. Well, here's the best way to avoid being caught up in a sweep of undocumented families. Don't be undocumented. Don't be here illegally. And it sounds so crass and so mean, and I don't want to be mean, but everyone wants to politicize it in a way. Again, this is just making a narrative. This is just creating a narrative by doing it that way. So, Ilhan Omar, every person, including undocumented Americans, has rights if they are approached by ICE. Every person, including undocumented Americans, has rights if they are approached by ICE. Well, if you're approached by ICE and you are here legally as an American, you have much less to worry about, correct? I mean, they're not coming to deport you because you might be Hispanic. Okay? If you're here legally, you've gone through, if you're born here and you're Hispanic, they're not worried about you. If you came here through the legal immigration channels and they come and talk to you, they're probably not coming for you because they don't care. You're here legally. They know that. Every person, including undocumented Americans, has rights if they are approached by ICE. Okay. Yeah, you have the right to remain silent. They probably need to have a warrant. What if they do all those things? Scott Dworkin, if ICE comes to your door, keep calm, don't open the doors, say you don't give them permission to enter your home, ask for a warrant, don't answer any questions, don't sign any docs, record the interaction on your cell. Don't forget, ICE lies. Oh my goodness. United We Dream. The Trump administration announced that they will begin ICE raids in 10 major cities. They will be targeting those with deportation orders and will likely also take in undocumented people around the areas they are conducting raids. Interesting. So the people that ICE is targeting have deportation orders. It's not like they're just sweeping through this town randomly. They're going specifically after people who already have had a judge give a deportation order. So I'm trying to understand what people have a problem with that. If you already have a deportation order, then you should have already left. You should have already been gone. So I'm trying to understand it. I'm trying to understand this. So everyone's giving them advice on what to do. Previously postponed nationwide ICE raids scheduled this Sunday. Be vigilant. Defend your community. Do not be complicit. Do not look away. You assholes, think about it. They're going after people who already have deportation orders. So they're giving this advice. Do not open doors. ICE cannot come in without a signed warrant. Guess what? They have deportation orders. That's a signed warrant. Tell them to pass the warrant under the door before you open. Remain silent. ICE can use anything you say against you in your immigration case, so claim your right to remain silent. These are people who already have deportation orders. Do not sign anything ICE gives you without talking to an attorney. ICE already has deportation orders. Report the raid. Take pictures, videos, and notes, badge numbers of agents, exactly what happened. ICE already has deportation orders. Fight back. Get a trustworthy attorney and explore all options to fight your case. If detained, you may be able to get bail. Don't give up hope. ICE already has a deportation order. That means a judge has already given them the deportation order. So get a trustworthy attorney. If you're still in the country after a deportation order, you're going to lose that case. Okay? Now, if they just randomly raid people and try to round people up, that's not what it didn't say that was happening. If they do that, then sure. Do everything within your rights to get a proper hearing or whatever it takes. If you do not have a deportation order and you are questionable, okay, I get it. But the raids are people who already have a deportation order signed by a judge. I can't even. Good God. Oh, And again, this is the New York Times. U.S. prepares to arrest thousands of immigrant family members. Oh my God, I hate it when they spin this. That is pure spin by using arrest thousands of immigrant families. Let me rephrase this in legal terminology. ICE prepares to arrest thousands of illegal immigrants who already have a deportation order. Which sentence sounds more accurate? Mine or the New York Times? Good Lord. Oh, find an immigration lawyer. You probably already had an immigration lawyer. You probably already had someone helping you out, and you still got a deportation order. It's a deportation order. Oh, good God. I can't. Moving on. Paul Ryan's trending. I don't know why. He just moved up ahead of things. Why is Paul Ryan suddenly trending? Guess what? Now Paul Ryan, in an interview for a book, says real Donald Trump is a self-absorbed, know-nothing, moral miscreant who shouldn't be president. That's not a quote, David Korn. Ryan is a true profile in courage. New book details how Republican leaders learned to stop worrying, and it depicts how many Republicans who once criticized Trump quickly changed their tune after his election. Maybe because they figured out that he wasn't as bad as they thought he was going to be. Maybe because they figured out that he was about policy and not anything else, even though they thought he was a jackass during the primaries, which I thought he was a jackass during the primaries. In fact, I still think he's a jackass, but he's an effective jackass. He knows, his opponents knows he's a jackass. He knows he's a jackass. He's good at it. He's a New York business Democrat. That's what he is. He's an obnoxious New Yorker. Okay? Imagine that. He's been in New York all his life. He's an obnoxious New Yorker. But guess what? He's good at it. He's good at being an ass. He knows he's a jackass. And he revels in it. Okay? But yeah, everyone was worried because he's such a pompous ass. But guess what? When he became president, he was doing the policy things that Republicans agree with. Okay? He has style, terrible. His substance, not so bad. So they began to change their tune after the election. Shocker! Good God. Oh, Paul Ryan reportedly blasts Trump in new book. I'm telling you, he didn't know anything about government. Okay. So Paul Ryan is now going to get dragged because he said this about Donald Trump. Well, how is he doing? How's the country doing with him? Yes, you think he's a jackass. Okay, great. How's the country doing right now? Not so bad. Okay, there you go. Ah, my gosh. I get tired of even, I don't know. I'm not here to defend Donald Trump, but god damn. Some people are so stupid. And I get it. Some people are going to hate him because they don't like some things. And he gets blamed for a lot of stuff that maybe is his fault. I don't know. But like the border crisis. This border crisis didn't just happen in the last 3 years. This has been going on my entire life. I've been hearing about this immigration problem since I was in high school, when I first started paying attention to stuff like this. And it's been going on since it's been going on forever. It's not new. Paul Ryan trending. Okay. He's going to get beat. Everyone's going to be in Ryan's ass. Who else is Stable Genius? Wait a minute. What was the one I was doing? Okay, now, I only see a few numbers up here. Someone says 2. Signs that you live in the past. This is the last one I'm going to do. I got to get out of here. Signs that you live in the past. And I said, how many tweets do I have to read before the first one that takes a shit on Donald Trump? Okay. So I got a 2, 1, 12, and 3. Anyone else? You got last chance to get in on this. How many tweets do I have to read before the Signs You Live in the Past has someone taking a dump on the president? All right, well, you're probably typing that, so it'll pop up as I go. Signs that you live in the past. Let's click on this trend today. Paul Ryan's going to be number 1 today. I guarantee it. Ice Raids and Paul Ryan will be number 1 at some time during the day. Probably Ice Raids is going to be bigger than Paul Ryan. Although Ice Raids went down, so I don't know. Tropical Storm Barry. Oh, I have a friend who's, an internet friend, who is that storm is heading towards Louisiana. Whew. And the Mississippi River's almost at flood stage already. Ooh, it's going to be a mess in New Orleans and southern Louisiana and Texas, and not good. We'll have to see what happens with Barry. Okay, here we go. Signs you live in the past. I'm clicking right now. The number 1 sign that you live in the past on my top is, Aladdin, Lion King, and Dumbo in the cinema. Whoa, wait, what? Okay, that's funny. Signs that you live in the past, because all 3 of those are in the cinema, are in the movie theaters right now. Lion King just opened. I don't know if I'm even a fan of the live action Disney flicks. Maybe because I haven't seen it. I probably should go see some of these. And particularly the Lion King, because that's really interesting how they're going to make that look live action with the CGI and whatnot. All right, that's the first one. The second one, signs that you live in the past. Your righteousness is like mighty mountains. You save humans and animals alike. Oh, Lord, Psalm 36. If God saves everyone alike, then why are we going against God by killing animals for food? Okay. Because we're omnivores. We're omnivores. That's why we kill animals for food. And because killing animals for food is probably one of the reasons why we've evolved into what we are now. And because lots of animals kill animals for food. We're not all vegans, so we eat animals. PETA, people eating tasty animals. Number 3, signs that you live in the past. You keep making the same mistakes and bad decisions instead of learning from them and going on. So if you had 1, 2, or 3, you are out. Number 4. That's an ad. Signs that you live in the past. Still waiting on Huey Lewis and the News to make a new album. Number 5. Signs you live in the past. No tablet or mobile phone, just the ocean and a good book. Yeah. That just signs that you can step away for a while. Signs that you live in the past. The only Batman you know is Adam West. That's my Batman. You know what the thing is, though? Adam West's Batman, that was like reruns when I was growing up. I mean, because apparently that was in the 60s. Kind of like, okay, so the reruns that were huge when I was in like grade school and junior high, Batman reruns were huge. Addams Family reruns were huge. The Munsters, Gilligan's Island, and what was the other one? There was trying to think of what I would like watch after school, because they're all the reruns that were on TV. What else? Gilligan's Islands, and the Brady Bunch. But the Brady Bunch was still in production, but then the reruns were always on too. So those were the big 5. Those are the big reruns that were on TV. Okay, so that was 6, 7. You still listen to 70s and 80s music because today's a shit. No, you listen to 70s, 80s music because that shit was good. It's funny too because like every once in a while will there'll be some kind of music I'm playing something from the 70s, 80s, and my kids know all the songs of the 70s, 80s music. I'm like, oh, and it's not like we played a lot of that when they were growing up, but they all know the 70s and 80s music. Kind of like when I was growing up, we knew all the 50s music, even though it wasn't our era, 50s and 60s music, but you just heard it. And it's interesting because my mother's 90th birthday party this last weekend, the whole party was nothing but Sam Cooke, and I didn't realize how many great songs my mom was dancing around stuff, but a lot of people knew all the Sam Cooke songs from the 50s. So that was kind of cool. Signs you live in the past, you might be still singing Nelly's old hits. It's getting hot in here, so take off all your clothes. I am getting so hot, I'm gonna take my clothes off. Signs you live in the past, you actually answer your landline. Nope, because I don't have one. Okay, I'm pretty impressed that they haven't gone Donald Trump on this. Signs you live in the past, this is what I park next to at the store. This is truly where I live. Okay, so they have an Amish country. Signs you live in the past, you still dance like MC Hammer. Uh-oh, Hammer time. Where you at, MC? I know you're out there somewhere. Signs you live in the past, you're still trying to get back to the year 1985. Wow. Oh, there, finally. I didn't even count. Where are we at? I probably ran out of it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. What? If you're an SJW who's a part of a hate group called Antifa, that kind of came up. Oh, there's a whole bunch that popped up in between. 5, 6, that was there. 7 was there. 8 was there. 9 was there. 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. 16. Okay. That's the only one, man. That's as close as they got to slamming Trump. Her emails. Signs you live in the past. Her emails. Yeah, again. And if signs you live in the past, if the word is your emails, you're probably from the left, because people on the right know it's about the classified information that she did dirty with. Anyway. All right. Enough of that one. Let me see. Let's check just see if there's anything really. Tropical Storm Barry. If you're in the Gulf Coast, please be safe, especially Louisiana, Mississippi, and East Texas. Stravaka, whatever her name is, Barbara Strakova looks to serve up an upset in Wimbledon semifinals. Isn't she ranked higher than Williams right now? Will feature 4 players with 4 contrasting styles. Serena Williams, a veteran at age 37, has her monster serve. 23 against Simona Halep. Then there's, okay. Oh, she's a grass court volley expert. Okay, that's that's a different style. So anyway, Wimbledon semifinals are coming up. Let's see. Salami Mustafi, something about Arsenal. Okay, so soccer guy. Dapper Dan. All right, that's it. Dinas app. All right, that's all we're going to do today. So anyway, hey, everybody. Thank you so much for being here today. I appreciate all of you. We are here Monday through Friday, 10 a.m. Eastern, 9 o'clock Central, 2 p.m. GMT. You hear me say it every day, but if someone you don't, who doesn't come here normally, I like to let them know that too, especially if you're from other parts of the world, because GMT is very important there to understand our times and shit like that. So anyway, thank you for being at the Morning Light Live. Hopefully you'll get some good information out of this today. And man, I didn't do a whole lot of FTGs, but honestly, here, let's get an FTG for Tropical Storm Barry, because you know what? That sucks. Hopefully it won't be too bad. Hopefully my friend who lives in, what's this town in Louisiana? Anyway, whatever that town name is, good luck to her. Be safe there. And y'all, we'll be here tomorrow. Tomorrow's Friday. I might throw in a guest here. Go watch that Poisoning the Well video, though. It's hilarious. And, I made a video response to it, too. You probably already saw that. If you're wondering what the video response was from, I'll put that in the description of that video. I probably should have put that in there. But anyway, y'all have a great day. Have a great Thursday. Tomorrow, we'll hopefully have a guest. I appreciate you being here each day. And I got to go. So my name is Dawg Knight. And I'm out of here. Bye-bye. Have a great day.